with that in mind, we have the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo. He's at the White House. Ostensibly, he's flown back from Saudi Arabia, right, when he's making this speech. And he went to Saudi Arabia. He's like, I need the hard answers here. I need to know what the heck. There's reports that your own personal bodyguard, Mohammed bin Salman, was there.
You did his Clouseau impression.
And Pompeo got the goods. Here he is. He's coming back to announce, like, I figured out what was going on.
I had a chance to brief the president on the travels that I returned from last evening, where I had traveled both to Riyadh and Ankara. Had a chance to talk with in Riyadh with the king, with the crown prince, with the foreign minister, all of the United States counterparts there. We made clear to them that we take this matter with respect to Mr. Khashoggi very seriously. They made clear to me that they too understand the serious nature of the disappearance of Mr. Khashoggi. They also assured me that they will conduct a complete
Pause it. The disappearance. Right? He disappeared.
Gotta love that passive voice.
Well, it's also sort of like we don't know what happened to him. We don't know if he's dead or alive. He for all we know, this could be an insurance fraud scam. The old life insurance thing, or maybe he just really didn't want to get married.
Spontaneous combustion.
Spontaneous combustion's possible. Maybe he didn't want to get married, and so this is the only way that he didn't have the guts to break up with his fiancée. So he did the old go into the embassy and go out the back door type of thing. Maybe he was picked up by a UFO. Stranger things have happened, or maybe not. But at one point, it's possible someone gets teleported up to a UFO or picked up by a tractor beam. There's multiple different explanations, but he disappeared. Go back a little bit.
Understand the serious nature of the disappearance of Mr. Khashoggi. They also assured me that they will conduct a complete, thorough investigation of all of the facts surrounding Mr. Khashoggi, and that they will do so in a timely fashion. And that this report itself will be transparent for everyone to see, to ask questions about, and to inquire with respect to its thoroughness. And I told President Trump this morning that we ought to give them a few more days to complete that, so that we too have a complete understanding of the facts surrounding that, at which point we can make decisions about how or if the United States should respond.
You see what you're doing in real time. We are watching people make up a story, right? Like, and apparently it's not going to be too easy because there's so much evidence that it appears to be like physical evidence in the form of like a recording that they're really having to work on, like what's going on. So like they have to do some type of investigation. Now, incidentally, one person who was reportedly of that 15, my understanding from last night, already had the misfortune of dying in a car crash. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? So they may need a couple more days to investigate. In other words, like maybe let's see, if you got one in one day, maybe they need 2 weeks.
You have some
But they're going to kill all of those guys.
Well, I'd like to call it tying up loose ends.
Right. And the U.S. government is covering for them. So that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I hope we see more of this. This is why all the Republicans who are running, I think that's, we were sitting in here. Why are the Republicans, like the conservatives are doing a whisper campaign smearing Khashoggi, which is, I just don't even understand what the outcome of that is. They don't want to alienate, I guess, their base. But the fact is that none of these Republicans, I mean, I don't know how going into this election, a single one of them running for re-election could actually say like anything other than this horror. Like every Democratic at this point, we have a government where, and it's slightly different than when we just kill people, right? Because everybody sort of bought into that as a nation. But the idea that we are running basically interference for the just naked murder of a journalist. That's pretty crazy.
The base loves that stuff, though.
Well, yeah, they're going to need a little bit more than the base. That's the problem. So they may like it from Trump, but if I'm running against Dave Bratt in Virginia, let's say, I'm going to be like, will you denounce the president for covering up on this murder by the Saudis? The Saudis aren't necessarily, it'd be interesting. We'll talk to Cliff about this because I think there is a reason why Donald Trump was praising Gianforte, the other a journalist abuser.